Hello and welcome to this episode of Talking Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we are looking at the main cockpit cabin area interior trim panels for the Jaguar XK140 open two-seater Roadster. So what I've tried to do here is gather together all of the main interior trim panels for the cockpit cabin. So I'm ignoring the boot trunk area and I'm also ignoring certain materials, so none of the seats, centre cushion armrests are on here, so no leather bits are on here. Basically we haven't done the seats, the centre cushion armrests, or the dash and capping and tonneau surround levers. So we've ignored all of that. Obviously there's no carpets on here either, and we've also ignored a lot of the rear area where there's normally sort of hardura that backs onto the bulkheads and into the boot trunk area. So this is really sort of the A posts, the door panels and the B post quarter panels, wheel arches, underdash area, door pockets, etc. So yeah, try to group them together as logically as possible. Ran out of space on our CNC machine, so I figured this was the best way to break it up. So see alternative videos for the other elements of the kit. Now we do sell all of these parts as part of a trim kit, except where noted. And the trim kit also includes things like the seats and carpets and boot area, etc. So see our website for details on there. But we also do sell these items individually. Now when I say individually, I mean we sell them in car sets. So for singular panels, they're obviously sold individually as a singular panel. But for example, the door panels, we sell the doors as a pair, i.e. a car set's worth. So I'll try and be as clear and concise as possible with this as I slalom through the parts, and I've got a few books for references. Let's start at the front. We've got the underdash panel. So this is obviously upside down when it's in the car. This is actually for a left-hand drive car. It's cut out of millboard fiberboard on our CNC machine and then trimmed all the way around. This has been trimmed, all of these parts have been trimmed to kind of OEM spec, apart from where noted. OEM spec is most of the trim panels are sort of vinyl. A couple of bits are in moquette. Obviously some elements were in leather for the cappings, which isn't applicable to this video. But the underdash is vinyl, has the necessary cutouts for the heater and the steering wheel column there. As you can see, it's got the slit in it, etc. Trimmed all the way around. So that is effectively, if we look in this book here, it's underneath there. You can't really see it in this picture here, but that's the underdash panel. We then have what we call the dash crash roll under panel. Now again, this is upside down, it goes the other way up in the car. It's a millboard material, nice and flexible as you can see, so it follows the curvature, trimmed all the way around in vinyl. This is, you can just make out where this red line goes across here. That's the bent panel. It's going underneath the crash roll effectively, so that's why we call it that particular part. Originally was in the vinyl on the millboard there. Obviously for these bits and bobs, it's worth noting we can offer full leather kits if you prefer them as well, but for the most part we do kind of OEM spec. This part here, this is what we call the dash instrument fascia under panel. And this, so this is the dash fascia, the under panel, it's underneath there. Basically, you can't really see it very well in this picture there, but that's the best illustration for it. Again, millboard, trimmed all the way around in vinyl. Then moving to the side here, we've got the kind of A post in the footwell areas. If we look at this panel here, again, millboard, nice and flexible because these parts bend to the curvature of the car like that. So trimmed all the way around, apart from on this bottom edge here, which has a loose flap intentionally, so that tucks underneath the felt and the carpets, creating a nice seamless finish. Got the hole in the middle of it there for letting the air through the air vents. Got this book here, you can see, I get the glare off it, that's that hole there. While we're in this sort of area as well, we do loose bits of material here, and this is for, there's a couple of bits they're either metal or ply depending on the car, but to trim on those, and that's basically, it fills in the gap. You can't really see it in any of these photos unfortunately, but it fills in the gap kind of here where the A post panel bends. It fills in this dead space kind of here, so we include material for recovering that. Now one part that we've included in this video here is the draft excluder Furflex. This is not part of our trim kit. We do sell this as an optional extra, but we can supply that as well. It's this wind lacing here, effectively, that goes up and down the doors now. Those of you that've got keen eye, you'll notice I'm actually looking at 120s at the moment, purely because they were offering better photos of that specific area. The 120s did actually use a different wind lacing to the 140s. Let's see if I can find a 140 quickly. But basically, it's a difference between snap-on, which is what this is. It's metal and it snaps on, or tack-on, which was used on the earlier cars. Tack-on generally being for the earlier range of cars in the sort of 50s, then they obviously adapted technologies and whatnot and allowed for snap-ons for the later cars. Moving on to the door panel area. So you've got a pair of door panels, and then other elements of the door panels as well, but for the time being I'm just going to focus on the actual door panels. So you get a pair of these. They, again, millboard. They have all the correct holes on them for the certain elements here. Again, I'm going to refer to this book here, which strictly speaking this is actually for a 120, but the doors are ludicrously similar. They even have the same sort of flat element to them. So we have the whole kidney cut out there for the metal work, which I'll come back to in a sec, which obviously for the door pull lanyard. Then you have the relevant holes for these elements here. Again, obviously bear in mind that's a 120, not a 140. And this is the actual panel on the face here. So you get the pocket flap like that, which has the fixing sorted on it. It gets piping on it as well, and it's actually slightly thicker piping. It's what they refer to as paper piping. It's not actually made out of paper these days. It used to be up until a few years ago, but these days it's reverts to in plastic, but it is a thicker piping, and we do have the correct stuff. We have done the piping on this edge down to about there, which according to our records is correct for most cars. However, I have definitely seen one's original trim where it's been piped all the way around. So we always say with these things, just send us photos of your original stuff if you've still got it, and we'll do it to that spec. But if not, we standardly do it where it goes from the bottom corner all the way up to about midway down on that part there. Yeah, door flaps obviously all edged all the way around very nicely on there, and have the finishing metal bits in the back of them there. You can see the fixing on the back there, and we do supply, as standard with these, the chrome kidney finisher there, which I put there. So they're sold as a pair of door panels. In addition to that, you might want to consider obviously the door panel pockets, which sit behind the actual door panels. Now these were millboard, they're then riveted together after creasing, and they're originally flocked. We can offer them in flocked. These have actually been done in a wool cloth headlining material at the request of the customer. Wool cloth's a lovely material. It's the same sort of headlining material that Jaguar used for their fixed head and drop head cars and a lot of the E-types and saloons and things. So we've done that in a sort of beige wool cloth, but we can offer it in flocked. We can also offer it in moquette if you prefer as well, so just bear that in mind. So they're sold as a pair. Then you have the door pulls, door pulled lanyards. So they have the correct leather belting inside of them there, as you can see. They're leather as well, the actual covers themselves sewn with the flaps on the end of them. And then we supply the two. So you've got an envelope and a tear pear drop sort of shape there, which go on the ends here. I'll just refer back to this book. So that's the teardrop ends there, and you can just about make out the envelope elements there. So that's those there. Again, sold as a pair there. Now all of this, like I say, is part of our trim kit apart from the draft excluder. Moving further back, you have the B post quarter panels. So these really bend up when they're in the car like that. Again, moldboard, have the relevant hole on them for the hood frame, I believe. But yeah, nice and flexible material there to allow for the curvature. Again, flaps on the bottom as standard, so it allows you to tuck underneath and get a nice seamless finish between the carpet area. Let's just flick through this book here, and I believe I've got, yeah, they are. So these are the B posts, so you can see the curvature on there, and that's obviously where the hood frame mechanism sits in, which is the hole I just pointed at there. I'll actually grab this book and bring it further back. So yeah, that's obviously that there. yeah, real bend in it, so it allows for that curvature. Then moving back to the back of the car here, you have the wheel arches here. Now, these are a bit of subject of debate, which is about to get proven by this photo here. Most cars, I believe, left with moquette, which is a wool style material, very thin, short pile, very high quality. It's the same stuff they used on the backs of the front seats, etc. So most of the 140s and 150s had the wheel arches in the moquette material. However, some may have left in vinyl, as this photo maybe demonstrates here. But it's this is the main wheel arch here. And then you have the lower wheel arch here, which is this tiny bit here. It's mostly covered up by the rear bulkhead hardura, which you should see another video that I've got on YouTube for this hardura section here. But it's this kind of section here, which is this cover here. It's actually seen a lot better here in, I believe that's a drop head that we're looking at there, is it? That's top, yeah, that is a drop head. So you've got the two moquette versions there and there. Now, again, this part may be in vinyl. We can make it in vinyl if you prefer. So we always recommend that you just advise us what your preference is on that, or what your car left with there. And then finally, you get a bit of material here for what we refer to as the lower bulkhead, which is this section here. It's the kickboard basically behind the front seats there. So yeah, nice comprehensive kit there. Like I say, OEM spec is as per what I've said here, with a pinch of salt obviously for idiosyncrasy, shall we say, in a factory production line. But we can tailor it to your requirements, so we can change vinyl to leather if you prefer, switch out moquette for vinyl if your car has that. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, please refer to our other videos for the XK140 Roadster for things like the hardura sections of the cockpit cabin, my separate video about the boot trunk area, seats, carpets, etc. Trying to do nice comprehensive guides. Hope it wasn't too long. Tried to keep it as concise as possible. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, remember to like, subscribe, add any comments that you'd like. Obviously, if you want to contact us about any of the parts, please do so. And please remember to tune in next time for our next installment. Cheers. Bye.